Everybody, welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here today with Trixie. Today I am reviewing the film Death on the Nile. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go ahead and watch the movie before you watch this review. Death on the Nile is a movie by Kenneth Branagh. It is the sequel to the movie Murder on the Orient Express. It's based on an Agatha Christie novel and deals with Detective Hercule Poirot as he solves a death on the Nile. As far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I really liked the cast. Particularly, I thought Mackey was really good in this, and Annette Bening as well. I really liked Tom Bateman as Book. He was also in Murder on the Orient Express, and I actually liked his character in this one even more than I liked him in that movie. Sophie Okonedo also, I thought she was good. Really, overall, everyone was great in this. Kenneth Branagh is obviously a world-class actor, and he does a great job as always. I like most of the music in the movie. It's this sort of 30s jazz that kind of dominates most of the film. I didn't particularly like the first song, but after that, I pretty much liked all of the songs they had in them. Sophie Okonedo's character was the one singing them. I don't know if she was really singing or not. She may have been. The opening. So the opening sort of gives us an origin story for Hercule Poirot's ridiculous mustache and why he has it. And I sort of enjoyed it, actually. It shows us him fighting in World War I, which is interesting because it seemed like for a long time people said, hey, why don't they make more movies about World War I? And now they finally are. And now I almost feel like I've gotten sick of movies about World War I, and there haven't been that many. But yeah, they show a guy with the mustache, and at first, at least for me, I'm dumb. I'm thinking, oh, that's him in World War I. Okay, that's weird. He looks different. And then you realize it's actually his captain. And yeah, they much like the first movie, they show a scene where it demonstrates sort of his deductive reasoning and how smart he is and everything. He manages to save his platoon or his company by noticing the birds and when they flew. So that was good. I like that. Overall, there's a decent amount of comedy in this movie, actually, and I think it actually kind of works, surprisingly. There's a line that you see in the trailer where he accuses someone of murder, and Book goes, oh, he does it all the time. He goes, oh, yes, it is a problem, or something like that. And yeah, I knew the line was coming. It was in the trailer, but got a big laugh in the theater, and it was funny. There was a couple other good moments like that. Very, very similar, like Monk, the TV show with Tony Shalhoub in that way. There's a little bit of romance for Poirot in this movie. He's sort of attracted to Sophie Okonedo's character, which I thought was interesting and kind of cute and funny. There's a scene where he's sort of kind of trying to talk to her, and he's very awkward and clearly doesn't know how to do it. And so it's fun to see someone who is so smart and so accomplished in a situation where he's not able to be that way. As far as what I didn't like about the movie, I would say the only actor whose performance I really didn't like was Letitia Wright. Admittedly, I'm not a fan of her personally, because of some of the dumb stuff she was putting on the internet, but her acting to me seemed just out of place here and not good. It just very much like a high school theater production kind of thing. I think her character was supposed to be American, but I guess she went to boarding school with Mackey's character, or no, I'm sorry, with Gal Gadot's character, who's, I don't know, honestly. So maybe there's a reason she has this sort of weird accent, but accent aside, her acting was not very convincing. And she's got an important role, and it's a good and important character. I don't think she was able to handle. And when you really see somebody up against like Kenneth Branagh, who was a great actor, or Annette Bening, or Jennifer Saunders, or whoever, it's hard to sort of live up to that. The CGI in the movie is not very good. They do a lot of CGI scenery. I wasn't very impressed with it. There is a CGI snake that's really bad, like noticeably bad, like early 2000s NBC miniseries bad. Overall, the movie's too long. The first half of the movie is kind of boring and it drags on a bit. It goes way longer than it needs to, and it takes way too long to get to the actual death on the Nile. I swear, like an hour into the movie, I think, before the first character finally dies. If you've got the word death in your title, I'm expecting death. There's too many characters in this to keep track of, I think, for most people. And obviously, in the book, there was actually more characters, and they combined some, and they cut some out, and they added some. Book is not in the book, but they threw him in here to kind of give it a sequel. Yeah, I don't know. I realize some of these complaints could be complaints with the book itself, but this is the adaptation, so that is what I am critiquing right now. The story is, I think, pretty predictable. Again, the book was written in probably 1937 when it takes place. And so, yeah, the unfortunate thing with that is the book is, 90 years old or whatever. And it even at the time, it may have been a very fresh, interesting idea. Even if you haven't read the book before, you've probably read or seen other things that were influenced by the book. So at least for me, I pretty much figured out what was going on within the first couple minutes of the film. It seems pretty obvious, Hercule Poirot is famous for saying, I think, like, who benefits? And in this case, if you think, well, who would benefit from this? It's who would benefit. This is a spoiler review, by the way, so I don't know why I'm tiptoeing around anything here. Hopefully you have seen the movie if you are watching this. Other things about it. So this movie is sort of interesting to me because there's a lot of controversies around the cast. Johnny Depp was in the first movie, and that was around the time the sort of scandal with him and Amber Heard was coming out, I think. And so that was, it put a little bit of a tinge on that. And in this one, you've actually got a lot. You've got Armie Hammer, who kind of came out with some, he was doing these cannibal kind of role play kind of thing that apparently he said was consensual, and some women who he did it with did not feel that way or were disturbed by it. Letitia Wright has put out some anti-vax stuff, and so has Russell Brand. And Gal Gadot is being criticized for her involvement with the Israeli military and supporting Israel because that's a complicated issue that I'm not going to go into right now. That being said, though, Armie Hammer, I actually thought was really pretty good in the movie. The guy's a good actor, I kind of forget. I just think of him as the guy from that bad Lone Ranger movie. But he was in that Call Me By Your Name. I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was good. And yeah, he seems like a pretty good actor. Russell Brand also, I thought he was pretty good in this. He's not in it very much. He really doesn't talk for the first hour and a half of the movie, I think. But yeah, I thought his performance was good. And I actually even thought Gal Gadot was kind of good in this. And I'm not a big fan of Gal Gadot, but I would say of the things I've seen her in, this is the most range that I've seen from her so far. Other than that, there's a part where he has an eye mask that matches his mustache, which I thought was funny. There's a lot of changes from the book. I have not read the book, actually. I have read a synopsis of it, and I've read articles about the changes in the book, but they did make quite a few. The jazz singer is not in the book. She was actually a romance novelist, and Book is not in the book. There's a lot of other characters that they added and removed as well. There's some product placement in this. There's a big $2 million necklace or whatever, and it's in a Tiffany's box, and they show it multiple times. So good for Tiffany's, I guess. French and Saunders appear in this, which is, they were a British comedy duo, and it actually took me about halfway through the movie before I realized that was Jennifer Saunders. And I didn't realize that was French until afterward, and I looked it up. I was not a huge French and Saunders fan. I was an Absolutely Fabulous fan, which Jennifer Saunders was in. And Rose Leslie in this. Her character was probably the one I empathized with the most. She was the maid of Gal Gadot's character, or whatever. And God, she's just treated terribly the entire time, and abused, and then of course murdered as well. The funny thing is, the whole time I was watching, I'm going, I recognize this woman from somewhere, but I can't place it. And she was in Game of Thrones. She looked different here. I don't know if she's lost weight or she just for some reason looked different to me. But yeah, I just kept looking at her thinking, I know that person somewhere, but she looks different. Overall, I would say for the movie, it's okay. It's a little too long. It's a little too slow, and it's a little predictable. But for what it is, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a solid effort, and not a complete waste of time by any means. I also think that maybe this is something for Kenneth Branagh to do. Every couple of years, he'll get his friends together and he'll make another Agatha Christie movie. He can be like the highbrow, less successful Adam Sandler. So hey, good for him. I think next week I'm going to be reviewing Uncharted. I don't think Phil is going to make it for the review, but I'm going to try to get him here. So if you saw the movie, tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.